Welcome to Bulls and Red. Today, Richard's going to present some horrible numbers from the Inter Milano match. I'm going to be looking at a little bit of media, i.e. newspapers, and let you know how they see the situation. And last but not least, we'll be looking ahead at the return of Hasi Hasenhüttl to Leipzig. Welcome to Bulls and Red. Guess what? We're recording this on a Thursday, on a very special Thursday, so it's Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Richard. How are you today?
Happy Thanksgiving, Mario. I'm fine. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, it's Bulls and Red, our RB Leipzig podcast in English. We're at home in Leipzig, and it's made for you wherever you are on this planet. So, Richard, you were telling me before we started this podcast that you have some really horrible, grim numbers from the Inter clash. Do enlighten us.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was, I guess, saw it, and it was just a poor performance from our lads. And it's no wonder that there's a game where we only scored 0 goals, but didn't have a chance to score.
Well, you can't get into the negative. Minus 2 goals.
We have reached a new rock bottom according to X goals. So we have 0.15 X goals. That's the fewest ever for RBL since this metric was established. I think it was in 2016-17 season.
Is that even possible? What do you need to do to get to a low level like this?
Yeah, just avoid shooting, right?
Ah, okay. That's smart.
And our lads did that perfectly. So we had 7 shots. It's the fewest to see this season, tied with matches against Dortmund and Atletico. We had only 1 shot on target. Fewest this season. Here, rock bottom again. Interesting. Inter had only 12 shots for themselves. Only Augsburg, Union, and Bochum had less. Okay. So you could argue that our defense wasn't that bad, but I think it was more the sloppiness from the Inter lads that they wasn't that decisive enough to push all their gut towards our goal. And a little fun fact here for you, maybe just to keep the smiling in our faces. It was the first loss to an Italian club on Italian turf. So we had 2.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. So we were 2 for 2. We had wins at Napoli and Atalanta.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's the very first loss in Italy. Okay, so it's not that bad. We're still 2 out of 3. But something more serious, and this is what really concerns me, is we are winless in November now. And no matter what's going to happen on Saturday, it will be the worst November in club's history. So even with the win versus Wolfsburg, that would mean only 4 points in the whole month of November. We have never been worse. And this is what really, really, really makes me thinking about how things are going to develop in the upcoming weeks. What do you think?
That is dire. That's shocking. It feels like Halloween all over again. Not very nice. I didn't realize that we didn't get any points in November. Any wins?
We had 1 draw versus Mönchengladbach, but no win.
Wow. I think it's due to the international break. Because November was really dire. And if I think back to
still 5 games.
Could have won one of them in Glasgow, maybe. Anyway, wow. Or versus Mönchengladbach at home. Wow, that's really bad. Now, I had a look at some papers today because there is a lot of discussion between fans, as you can imagine, over here in Leipzig. But I was kind of curious to see, okay, let's have a look at the papers and see what they say. And one of them referred to the interview, and you might have heard about that Willi Orban gave to DAZN, which is a sports streaming channel. Very expensive over here in Germany, by the way. So if you just subscribe, it's like 45 euros a month. If you take it on a monthly basis, quite expensive. Anyways, and he is backing the coach because he's quoted to have said that he can't think of a better coach right now for RB Leipzig, which is really interesting. And also Rose in his press conference kept stating that the team, coaching staff, and the club were all in this together, and we're all going to pull through. So I must admit, at the moment, it's quite hard to keep that optimism. And in the quality newspaper, Leipziger Volkszeitung, one of the newspapers, leading newspaper here in Leipzig, one of the journalists, and it's not Guido Schäfer, he actually thinks that the position of the coach shouldn't be touched because RB Leipzig needs action in a different area. And he does state the fact that, maybe winning the Bundesliga title and getting to the final of the DFB Pokal and progressing further in the Champions League, these are maybe more of a dream than real concrete objectives. And he refers to the minimum objective. And we are spoiled, I must say. The minimum objective is UCL qualification for next season. And we are spoiled because I guess a lot of fans now expecting a little bit more. We've seemed to have been in the Champions League for a long time. But if you look at that and you think of RB Leipzig trying to reach that, at the moment the status is okay because we're ranked third in the Bundesliga and that is still within the top four, regardless of our thoughts of the next few weeks. And the author puts down the poor performance not to the attitude of players or the individual skills, not even to tactics. He's putting it down to the small roster. We only had, with all the 8 injuries, RB Leipzig only has 14 professional players available, excluding goalies. And the author concludes that RB Leipzig needs more players and a bigger roster. So that's that. Now, in a different article, they also acknowledged that the pressure on Rose is mounting. So it's not that RB Leipzig lost to Inter Milano 1-0 due to an own goal. Really unfortunate. It's not that fact. And it's not that RB Leipzig is most likely to be out of the Champions League. I think they are. Like we acknowledged also in our last episode, this ship seems to have sailed. It's more about the fact the way they lost. And the team was totally flat. No energy. Players seem to be clueless in the sense of how they're going to play together and how they're going to turn things around. And sometimes a bit desperate as well. So that's definitely not the RB DNA or the RB Leipzig DNA. That's something Red Bull doesn't want to see. And the fans, of course, as well. And the author of this article concludes that if this streak continues versus Wolfsburg, and he includes the cup match as well versus Eintracht Frankfurt. So if RB Leipzig was to exit versus Eintracht Frankfurt, and we would watch that inside stadium, wouldn't we, Richard? We're going to be there.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you're buying the beer anyway. We need loads of it. He predicts that there are stormy times ahead for the club and the air is getting thinner for Marco Rose. So we will see. By the way, Marco Rose seems to think that with 3 wins it's still possible to qualify for the playoffs and to get into the last 16. But do acknowledge that ranked 24th is a team which only has 4 matches and they got 24 points. They got 6 points. And I think you also wonder as well, who are we going to beat? If we, to me, it all broke down when we didn't beat Celtic and the way we lost to Celtic. That just showed me this campaign, this Champions League campaign is not going to end well. And we're without a chance. So that concludes my little roundup of the papers.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting how Rose sees this situation. I mean, okay, what should he say anyway, right? So he has to keep it up. He has to keep the mood in the locker room up and trying to spread optimism here. But to be honest, how are we supposed to beat Sporting and Aston Villa? Bearing in mind that Aston Villa is on the 10th of December, so only 2 weeks away from now.
Shit.
And it doesn't seem that we're getting back a lot of players to this point. Especially we won't get back our crucial players, Xavi and Raum and Schlager as well. Even if we could fill up our lines with Bichabou and Paulsen again. No disrespect to these lads, but this is not the spike in quality we need. And so, I'm clueless how this should be made. And on the other hand side, there's a lot of pressure, okay? But to me, I don't believe that Marco Rose has more than this game versus the Wölfe out of Wolfsburg after the game on Saturday. Because, well, we're talking about goals, and you talked about, okay, we are spoiled. But on the other hand side, I do believe that the goals that were reported before the season started, so reaching the knockout stage in the new Champions League, reaching the cup final, and finishing the league in the top 4, I think these are legit. So anything beyond that, so now getting out of the UCL within the league stage was on our plan for sure. Getting out in the round of 16 in the DFB Pokal even wasn't either on our schedule. And the way we are playing right now, and I told you, no win in November, and if this continues, okay, sure, we will win games during the season, no doubt, but we have to win more. We have to win more games. We have to keep out our points average per game around 1.9, 2 points per game. Otherwise, we won't finish in top 4. And now you have to think about, is this a bad thing, or isn't this too bad? I mean, look what Frankfurt does this season. So last season, they finished like 5th or 6th, I'm not quite sure, playing Europa League now. And there's some easiness within the playing style. They don't have that much pressure to finish top 4. If they finish top 4, everything is fine. And if they're reaching the quarterfinal in the Europa League, it's fine too. And somehow this seems to, how do you say it? So this gives you wings? Is this correct?
They would never drink any of this energy drink, but it lifts you up. It gives you momentum. Yeah. It just maybe relieves you from some burden. You can just play. Yeah. That's what they pretty much do. They're just playing. They're just playing football. And Leverkusen, now this season, they had a little bit more problems, a little bit more issues, but that season before the championship season, they were struggling to keeping the league, and then they released their coach Seoane. Alonso took over and led them to the international ranks in the Bundesliga, and all of a sudden they played such a magnificent season like last season, and with an easiness that was remarkable. And that's what I am missing when I don't have fun watching our lads play. No. And I couldn't care less if they don't win. If I had fun, and I was like, okay, they did everything. I could identify a clear plan. I could identify a, player, a real leader that took the duties on his shoulders and says, okay, boys, come on, get marching, keep up, and clapping the hands anytime. And, I don't recognize anything like this. And this is what really, really concerns me. And if things going wrong on Saturday, I don't think that the front office would let the club go out of the DFB Pokal with Marco Rose on the sideline. Because if this was a real goal, a legit goal to reach a cup final, you have to do something. Otherwise, you cannot go into this game with Marco Rose when we should lose on Saturday. And losing the cup match versus Frankfurt again, and then release him. That doesn't make sense at all. So if you want to release him when you're very likely missing your second goal of the season in early December, then you should do it before the Frankfurt match. Interesting take, and you mentioned some interesting points. I do share the same sentiment when you said that it doesn't entertain us when we watch RBL playing, because we're missing that high energy, that high press, that high technique, or, a game plan. If I do think back to coaches like you, Mark Nagelsmann, you had a feeling there's always a plan. And sometimes that plan might be too difficult to convert onto the pitch, but there was a plan. But what we're also missing are those players who provide that extra spark. Don't forget that. Xavi's not there. Schlager, the fighting man, he's not there. And Raum, who provides, finally provides all those crossings that we need. He's not there, so that is missing. I would contradict you a little bit, or I would be a different opinion in regards to people who try to be the leader and fight. And because I do see the team fighting, and the people who take the leading role are still really Orban. Players like him, he's trying. Campbell is trying that as well in his own way. But it's not enough. It's probably not charismatic enough. And then if you just rely on somebody like Willy Orban, that's not enough. So the whole team doesn't have any cohesion. I said it. Any cohesion at the moment. For some reason, well, for obvious reasons, you can't blame them. But it doesn't help. So at the moment, my attitude is, well, we just need to hang in there. Whatever happens, happens. We can't change it anyway. And still support them. And then you're the same way. Still support them. We can't make any decisions in regards to the coach anyway. So that's what they do. But I must admit, I don't suspect that he's going to be let go soon. But on the other hand, I can't tell you how I feel if they actually lose in that way that we've seen them playing in Milano, without any energy, very flat, and maybe on top of that, not fighting and not seem to care, then yeah, anger could build up and it could all be directed at the gaffer. Or some say Oberbeleuchter, for some awkward reason. Anyways, very interesting. Is this something you like to add, or have you said your piece?
No, thank you. I'm fine with that.
It's depressing with you today.
Let's move on to Wolfsburg.
Okay, so Hasenhüttl is coming back. I think that's the most positive thing, actually.
Second time. And the last time he appeared here with Wolfsburg, yeah, he gifted us a 3-0 victory.
It's wonderful.
So he could do this again. Okay, yeah. I would appreciate that pretty much.
And it's close to Christmas. So here we go.
Introducing our next opponent, their Gegnercheck.
VfL Wolfsburg, the club without a sponsor. No, not yet, but maybe in the near future. We will see. We have quite a lot of games now versus VfL Wolfsburg because we faced them 6 times in the DFB Pokal already. It's quite interesting. Yeah. So we had in total 11 wins, 6 draws and 6 losses, 37 to 19 goals. The only loss in the Bundesliga at home is back to 2016-2017 season when we lost 0-1 at home. And besides that, we had 5 wins and 2 draws. So a few numbers to build up some optimism here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last match, we won 3-0. I mentioned that. It was back in April this year. And what Hasenhüttl did to this team is interesting because obviously Wolfsburg is stronger than last season. They have a higher points average. Since Hasenhüttl took over, they had 1.57 points per game. This is their best value since the 2020-21 season when they finished 4th place and reached the UEFA Champions League. And this season, they're somehow strong in away games. I don't know why. So I know why, but it's interesting because they won 3 of their 5 away games. 2 of them versus the probably weakest clubs of the league, though. 2-0 at Kiel and 3-1 at Bochum, and 1 versus Heidenheim away, 3-1 as well. So that means 5 games without a loss now, 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 clean sheets in this stretch. So they are the complete opposite. So we are winless in November, they are hot in November.
Timing is impeccable, isn't it?
Yeah. As always, we have to playing with this new coach at Hoffenheim. Now Heidenheim and now Wolfsburg is on fire and they're traveling to Leipzig. It couldn't be worse, right?
And I think we've got the longest injury list ever, I think.
I didn't check that, but it's very likely, yeah? Probably
8
it is.
players.
And all of them seems to have the same. So Xavi Nat and Raum also, but I think 4 of them has upper leg injuries. That's strange, right? Okay. I'm not a doctor.
Conspiracy theory coming up in the next episode. Dr. Richard.
Maybe. So they got some new interesting players in town, Wolfsburg. First and foremost, they had a new goalie. Yeah, because their longtime keeper, Koen Castells, is off to new sporty challenge in the Saudi Arabian league.
I heard of that. Yeah, it's very tough
it's
over
like, yeah, obviously. And there are rumors that they're paying pretty good wages. But I'm not quite sure. There's rumors.
Just rumors.
So they needed to add a new goalie, and they find it in their new number one. It's Kamil Grabara, a 25-year-old Polish guy, came from FC Copenhagen, and it seems to be a good choice for Wolfsburg. He's number 2 in shots saved in the league, 43. Only Mr. Weiner from Kiel got more. It's no wonder, because I think he had
It's plenty of opportunities.
Plenty of opportunities to shine, correct. But nevertheless, save percentage of 70% is at the edge of the upper third of the league.
Wow.
And yeah, it's quite interesting, quite remarkable. I think he's a very talented, good player. He might have a little weakness in defending corner kicks.
Yeah, but hello, corner kicks, set pieces,
Yeah,
RB Leipzig.
I need to. How do you say that? For a few episodes ago, I clutched straws here.
You do,
Yes.
actually.
Again, I'm searching for something. But although this is likely more defensive issue, conceding 4 goals after corner kicks. But anyway, it's maybe something we could use for us, right?
Kevin Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he now has like 100 corner kicks and crosses go nowhere. Maybe in this game, 1 could be enough, okay?
1 is enough.
One could be enough. Another interesting player they added is their number 4, Konstantinos Koliarakis. It's a new cornerback.
Sounds great.
Turns 21 today. Happy birthday, young man.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes. He came from PAOK Saloniki before the season. He's left-footed. And it seems to be a very valuable addition to their defense. He struggled a little bit in the first games, but seems to get used to the tempo and the playing style of the Bundesliga. And in the last games, in the last matches Wolfsburg played, I told you already, they had 3 clean sheets in those 5 encounters. Mr. Kurilerakis made some solid performances. And the next player I would like to mention here to keep an eye on is their number 11. It's not a new one. I mentioned him last season before the match we played at Wolfsburg in the Cup. It's Thiago Tomas. He seems to have a breakout season in the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
so he's
right.
not new. He played 2 seasons for Stuttgart before he joined Wolfsburg, before the start of the 2023-24 season. And he was more a rotational player. So he played only 11 starts in the last season. In this season, he has already 10 and scored 3 goals. And that's quite remarkable because he only scored 8 goals in his first 3 years combined. So
great.
I think it's it's great for him, not for us. Okay,
I know.
to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate this development, and I'm happy he's only 22 years old. So don't forget, so he's like 4 years in the Bundesliga now, so almost 3.5,
Wow.
and still 22. He's a pretty young player, and I think he's got a really upside potential, and it seems like he has some connection to the new coach. Maybe this new playing system fits him better. I don't know, but yeah, obviously there is some more strength in his playing style than he had in the last season. Maybe he benefits some from the crosses from Riedle Baku or their number 9, and he's also new. I didn't have much facts to him, but his name is interesting. Is when I got him, I watched some tape most recently, and it was like, and he caught my eye. Number 9, he's the jersey number 9, and he's so quick, and he's usually playing off the left side. He's such a speedster, and he got 5 assists already. It's a tough player. So 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 scorer points. Their most valuable player in their offense, at least, so to speak. But on the other hand side, I would like to tell you that some important players are missing. And this is number 19, Lovro Meyer. I think he's usually their captain too. And number 40, Kevin Paredes, the US-American player.
Okay.
Both out with longer time injuries. So
Sounds
this
familiar.
is a clear weakness.
Sounds
And what
familiar.
and what gives me hope here is the fact that the wins they got Wolfsburg got came versus mediocre, or so to speak, weaker teams of the league. So they won versus Kiel. So that's a must-win for any club in the league besides Bochum. They had a win versus Bochum, I mentioned that. So Bochum is, I think, the second worst club of the league. They had a win versus Union at home and Union Berlin.
Well done. Well done, guys.
we only managed to get a 0-0 draw. I know, but usually this is a must-win game at home too for any club with some ambitions at least. And they had a win at Heidenheim. So okay, this is not things you could expect from Wolfsburg, but it's no surprise either. And their losses was versus Bayern Munich, Frankfurt, Leverkusen, and somehow Werder Bremen. So, but it leads me to this conclusion that this is a midfield team. They take their wins against weaker teams, but suffer losses versus stronger teams. So, and usually, if things are normal, we are a stronger team. So, and we're playing at home. That leads me to the conclusion that usually we should take the win here. Although, it's going to be hard because, you mentioned it all. We are running out of players. The lads are tired, somehow clueless, somehow desperate. You said it. And we need a win, desperately. And the only way to win I see here is go for set pieces, especially for corner picks. So please,
big question mark in my face.
shoot from
pieces?
Every angle, trying to get some deflected balls over the goal line, and then go for corner kicks, like 10 of them, and then keep your fingers crossed and some prayers that at least one of them leads to the hopefully lonely goal, and we don't concede one. And here's my score prediction. I hope that we're gonna end up with a 1-0, with an ugly 1-0 win, 85th minute, corner kick, Campbell, and then somehow Willie got his head on it and then falls into the back of the net, and we going home with a 1-0 win. And what I would really appreciate is that Marco Rose could take on Frankfurt on Wednesday night and turn things around completely.
Does a sublime job, and the team as well. I don't know. I'm not as optimistic, but we gotta be as loud as possible. So it's gotta be 1-0 win, some sort of win. That's what we need. And even if it is an own goal by a Wolfsburg player, I don't care. Even if Hasenhüttl scores an own goal, I don't care. It just has to happen. But interesting take, especially interesting regarding these set pieces, because set pieces have been so diabolical this season. And that's such a shame.
Yeah, we had Xavi, who was good at this. We had Raum, who also has a strong shot.
Even when we had them, it wasn't great, But the only way is up, isn't it? Can only improve.
By the way, hopefully, because by the way, a 6-game no-win streak never ever occurred in club's history. So that would be rock bottom as well.
That would be a new low, and we don't want that. So it needs to be avoided at all costs. Okay, guys, keep your fingers crossed. Now, I know there are not a lot of players left, but still, we're curious to hear who's Marco Rose gonna send on the pitch.
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
The last man standing. Gulaschi.
The last Red Bull standing.
The last Red Bulls flying. Gulaschi, Henrichs, Orban, Lukeba, Retreda, Baumgartner, Kappel, Haidara, Nusa, Shesko from the beginning. Please, Andre Silva, come on. No, not again. He had his chance, right? Get rid of him. And Openda.
If you just look at those players, it doesn't look so bad. Who's left on the bench? Silva, obviously.
Yeah, Silva, Klostermann.
Is he back? Klostermann's back, okay.
I think, yes. Giebel.
Oh, the Schkeuditz genius. Okay, well, let's see what's going to happen. At least we still have players left. And please, don't get injured. We can't add more players to this injury list. It's really, I've never seen anything like that. So please, whoever is there, support your team. Be loud, be patient. There's nothing else we can do. And to everyone else who's listening in, keeping track on the ticker tracker, or is lucky enough to watch it, just support them as well. Somehow the energy is going to get through. So let's do that. To all the Americans, once again, happy Thanksgiving. Keep enjoying all the NFL football. And don't gloat, Richard. I don't want that. This has been Bulls Are Red, our RB Leipzig podcast in English. We're at home in Leipzig and made for you wherever you are on this planet. If you like our little podcast, kindly subscribe to it on your favorite podcast platform. And you can follow us on social media as well, on Instagram, X, Twitter, Bluesky, and our episodes are available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Co. All which is now left to say is Danke, Richard. We'll be back early next week because there is a DFB Pokal match coming up, so that's going to happen regardless of what's going to happen on Saturday. And I like to conclude with Auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs!